Most men never see it coming. They think attraction is all about money, looks, or saying the right things. But what if I told you that women, just like men, have silent vulnerabilities? Weaknesses not shown in words, but in behavior. And the men who see through the silence, they're the ones she can't forget. Today, we're revealing 10 hidden female weaknesses that only high-value Stoic men notice and know how to handle. And once you learn them, you won't need to chase. She'll feel drawn to you, even if she doesn't understand why. Question before we dive in: which of these surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's begin. 1. She's attracted to emotional power, not emotional drama. A woman doesn't want a man who's emotionally dead. She wants someone who feels, who connects, but only if he can handle those emotions with maturity. What repels her isn't vulnerability, it's chaos. What weakens attraction isn't honesty, it's emotional instability. You see, she can cry in your arms, but she can't respect a man who falls apart beside her. Because the moment she feels like she has to become your emotional anchor, she starts to see you more as a burden than a partner. She's unconsciously wired to seek safety, especially emotional safety. If your moods swing wildly, if you panic when she pulls away, if you explode or collapse every time there's friction, you're no longer a source of stability. You've become a liability. A man who can't hold his own center becomes her emotional responsibility. And no woman wants to mother the man she sleeps with. That's why true emotional power comes from calm control. When she's storming and you remain grounded, she feels it. When she's spinning and you stay still, she senses strength. Your ability to remain unshaken becomes magnetic. She may not understand it logically, but her body feels safer around you. This doesn't mean you suppress everything. It means you channel everything. Like a Stoic, you observe your emotions, but you don't let them lead. You respond without overreacting. You feel without flooding. So the next time she's testing your limits, creating drama, or breaking down, don't match her energy. Don't raise your voice. Don't try to fix her. Just hold your frame. Because in the eye of her storm, what she truly craves is a man who doesn't get swept away. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Marcus Aurelius. 2. She can't resist a man who doesn't need her. Here's a hard truth most men don't want to hear. The more you orbit her world, the less gravity you hold. The moment you start adjusting your life around her availability, texting her 5 times a day, canceling plans just to see her, you're not being romantic. You're being disposable. Because deep down, she senses when a man is dependent on her attention to feel whole. And once she senses that, you lose your edge. She may like the attention at first, but the subconscious part of her starts whispering, "He needs me too much. He's too easy." Now contrast that with the man who doesn't chase, who answers when he wants to, who doesn't panic when she doesn't reply, who has goals, rituals, and standards that don't revolve around her mood. That man becomes a puzzle she can't solve. She wonders why he doesn't seek her approval, why he seems so full on his own. That mystery becomes attraction, because his energy doesn't say, "Please pick me." It says, "I've already picked myself." And here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing her approval is the moment she starts chasing yours. When you're no longer begging to be chosen, you become the one doing the choosing. This doesn't mean being cold. It means being centered, being open to love but not addicted to it, being strong enough to walk away, not because you want to punish her, but because your sense of self isn't tied to how she feels that day. This is Stoic masculinity at its core, valuing your inner peace more than external validation. You can admire her beauty, enjoy her company, and still know that your life moves forward, with or without her. And when a woman senses that you'd never betray yourself just to keep her, she begins to see you as the rarest thing in her life, a man she can't control. 3. Silence drives her wild. Most men underestimate the power of their silence. They think that being quiet means being weak, that if they don't explain, don't justify, don't respond, they'll lose her. But here's the twist. When used correctly, silence isn't absence, it's influence. It creates tension, it creates space. And in that space, she begins to feel things she was able to avoid when you kept filling the air with words. When you stop over-explaining your feelings, stop sending long texts trying to clarify your intentions, or stop chasing her with constant check-ins, she notices. Not because you're playing games, but because your silence becomes a mirror. It reflects something back at her, and often that reflection is uncomfortable. She starts wondering, why isn't he reaching out? Did I lose him? Was I wrong about his feelings? And most importantly, why does this bother me so much? That's the moment you reclaim the emotional frame. When she's the one feeling the absence, when she's the one spiraling in the uncertainty, you've shifted the dynamic without raising your voice, without saying a single word. Because emotional control doesn't always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like non-reaction. But be warned, silence without substance is empty. Your silence has to be rooted in self-respect, not passive aggression. If you're silent to punish her, she'll feel it as manipulation. But if your silence comes from a calm, grounded place, if it says, I value peace over drama, that energy becomes irresistible. A Stoic man doesn't run from conversation, but he knows that not every emotion needs to be expressed, and not every situation deserves his reaction. When you stop chasing the need to be understood and start embracing the power of being still, you create a gravitational pull no words could ever achieve. 4. A purpose-driven man is her deepest craving. You don't need a six-pack, a Ferrari, or a six-figure income to be deeply attractive. All of those things can be icing, but none of them are the cake. The core of real masculine magnetism is direction. A woman's deepest craving is not just a man who's confident, it's a man who's going somewhere. A man with a vision, a mission, and a reason to wake up in the morning that doesn't involve texting her good morning. Purpose is what separates a man who impresses from a man who imprints. Because when you have purpose, you move differently. You don't reply instantly because you're busy building. You don't argue over small things because you have bigger things on your mind. You don't fall apart when she pulls away because your life doesn't collapse without her. That kind of emotional independence is rare. And in a world full of men trying to make her the center of their universe, you stand out when your universe already exists without her. Here's the ironic truth. The more you prioritize your mission, the more she wants to be part of it. She doesn't want to be the mission. She wants to be chosen by a man who has one. If she feels like your entire world is wrapped around her attention, she'll get bored. She'll test you. She'll lose respect. But if she feels like she has to earn your time, your energy, your focus, because you're already consumed by something greater, she'll respect you. She'll admire you, and often she'll chase you. Purpose also protects you from emotional dependence. It gives you internal stability. The man without a mission becomes reactive. He's constantly wondering what she's thinking, checking her Instagram, living in his head. But the man with purpose doesn't have time to obsess. He's building, creating, evolving. So ask yourself honestly, what are you chasing that doesn't involve her? What fire are you tending when she's not around? If your answer is nothing, then you're not ready to lead a woman. Because a Stoic man doesn't follow her path. He walks his own and invites her to join only if she's worthy. If this video is bringing you real value so far, pause for a second. Hit that subscribe button to support this channel. It helps us create more high-quality Stoic content like this and reach more men who need it. Your support truly makes a difference. Thank you. 5. She can't play the game if you don't react. Women test not because they're manipulative or malicious, but because they need to know who you are beneath the surface. A woman might challenge your opinion just to see if you'll fold. She might tease you, pull away, act distant, or even provoke drama. Not to destroy connection, but to see if you can hold your center under pressure. It's not about the words you say. It's about the energy you give off. Will you remain still like a mountain, or will you chase like a boy who needs approval? Most men fail these tests without realizing it. They argue when they should stay calm. They get defensive when they should be grounded. They explain themselves endlessly, hoping to be understood, but in doing so, they reveal their insecurity. And once that insecurity surfaces, attraction starts to erode. Because whether she knows it or not, she's not just looking for love, she's looking for leadership. And leadership doesn't flinch. So when she throws fire your way, when she criticizes you, questions your intent, or creates distance, the most powerful response is stillness. Not apathy, but anchored energy. Say no without guilt. Keep your standards without trying to explain them. Refuse to be baited into emotional chaos. Why? Because the man who doesn't react is the man who can't be controlled. This is emotional jujitsu. She wants to feel your strength, but not through volume, not through dominance, not through control, through presence, through restraint, through the deep sense of power that says, I see what you're doing, I'm not moved by it, and I'm still here, centered. Remember, a test passed builds attraction. A test failed breeds doubt. If she pokes and prods and you crack, she sees weakness. But if she challenges you and you meet it with calm clarity, she doesn't just feel respect, she feels safe. Because now she knows she's not dealing with a boy, she's standing in front of a man. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. Marcus Aurelius. 6. Mystery is her addiction. There's one silent killer of female attraction: predictability. When she knows exactly how you'll react, when you say everything too soon, when every emotion is laid out like a menu, curiosity dies. And when curiosity dies, so does desire. Because at her core, a woman is a creature of imagination. She doesn't just want to know you, she wants to discover you. That's where mystery comes in. It's not about playing games. It's not about withholding love or pretending you don't care. It's about maintaining emotional sovereignty. About being whole enough in yourself that you don't feel the need to reveal everything at once. Because the truth is, women are addicted to unfolding men who reveal themselves in layers. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you reveal your thoughts, feelings, and backstory on your terms. Not because she asked, not because you're scared of losing her, but because you understand one of the oldest truths in attraction. Curiosity fuels desire. So how do you keep mystery alive? You stop being available 24/7. You answer messages when you choose, not as a reflex. You don't declare your love in week 1. You let silence do some of the talking. You share deep truths, but at the right time and only once she's earned it. You remain emotionally warm, but never predictable. When she doesn't know exactly how you feel, she starts to think about you more. When she has to wonder what you'll do next, she becomes invested. When she senses there's more beneath the surface, but she hasn't reached it yet, she keeps coming back, because mystery makes you unforgettable. Don't let your need for connection rob you of your masculine edge. Stay a little unreadable, a little untouchable. Be the man she can't figure out in one sitting, because that's the man she'll think about long after the conversation ends. 7. She reacts to loss more than effort. You could do everything right. Show up on time, text her every morning, compliment her, support her dreams, and for a while she may appreciate it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Consistency alone doesn't create desire, especially if that consistency signals emotional dependence. Because while your efforts may be sincere, they don't touch her subconscious the way loss does. Women, like all humans, are biologically wired to pay attention to loss more than gain. It's a principle rooted in evolutionary psychology. Thousands of years ago, losing protection meant danger. Losing a strong male meant survival was at risk. That ancient programming still lingers. Today, it shows up when she feels like she's about to lose something valuable, something rare. And if you're always available, always saying yes, always giving, you become emotionally common. Not because you're not worthy, but because you're too easy to access. Contrast that with the man who is scarce, not because he's playing games, but because his life is full. The man who doesn't fear walking away if he's disrespected. the man who keeps a healthy distance, not to manipulate, but because his mission comes first. That man taps directly into her deepest instincts. When she senses she could lose him, her brain sounds the alarm. Suddenly, his absence becomes louder than any sweet words he ever spoke. This doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become measured. You give, but not excessively. You show interest, but never from a place of desperation. You are present, but not predictable. In doing so, you become emotionally valuable. Because she knows if she loses you, she's not just losing attention. She's losing a man she can't replace. And that fear of loss, that's what creates obsession. Not the flowers, not the long calls, but the quiet realization that you are not always guaranteed. 8. Controlled desire equals maximum power. Desire isn't weakness, but being controlled by it is. Every man feels attraction. Every man wants intimacy, but not every man knows how to master that energy. And in the world of attraction, there's nothing more powerful than a man who feels desire, but isn't driven by it. Most men let desire rule their behavior. They stare too long, they text too often, they sacrifice their standards for a chance at affection. And women feel it. That neediness in the eyes, that eagerness in the tone, that thirst hidden under compliments. It doesn't create desire, it repels it, because it signals that your attention isn't earned, it's desperate. And desperation is the death of attraction. Now compare that to the man who is fully aware of his desire and chooses when, where, and how to express it. He doesn't rush to make a move. He observes, he listens, he holds space. He's not cold, he's composed. His self-control makes him feel rare, dignified, and elevated. And in a world full of men begging for attention, he becomes the one women seek out. This is the essence of Stoicism, not to deny desire, but to direct it. You don't eliminate your wants, you channel them through purpose. You recognize lust when it rises, and instead of letting it hijack your mind, you observe it, like a fire you control, not one that consumes you. Because the man who doesn't need sex to feel powerful is powerful. The man who can walk away from beauty because it doesn't align with his values is free. And that freedom, it radiates. She feels it when you look into her eyes without trying to impress her, when you compliment her without expecting anything in return, when you're fully in control of your urges, yet fully present in your energy. That's what makes you unforgettable. Not how much you desire her, but how little control that desire has over you. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. 9. Confidence without performance. There's a difference between being confident and trying to look confident. One is rooted, the other is performance. A lot of men fall into the trap of overcompensating. They speak louder, they take up space, they name drop, posture, flex, hoping that she'll be impressed. But what they don't realize is this: real confidence doesn't need a stage. It doesn't try. It simply is. When you walk into a room with calm energy, when you speak slowly and deliberately, when your eyes meet hers without flinching or seeking approval, she feels something ancient. A presence that says, I know who I am. I don't need to convince you. That presence is magnetic. It's not arrogance, it's self-possession. You don't need to be the funniest, the smartest, or the best-looking guy in the room. You just need to be the one who doesn't fidget with his identity. The man who is unhurried because he's not trying to win anyone over. The man who doesn't overshare, doesn't oversell, doesn't try to prove anything, because deep down, he doesn't feel like he has to. This kind of confidence comes from stillness, not movement, from listening more than speaking, from speaking only when it's worth saying, from walking slowly, not because you're unsure, but because you own the pace. Every action is intentional. Every word is chosen, not thrown. And the quieter your energy becomes, the louder your impact grows. Women don't fall for noise. They fall for depth. They're drawn to the man whose confidence is so natural, so unwavering, that it feels safe. Not performative, not peacocking, just present. The kind of confidence that doesn't chase the spotlight because it already carries light within. 10. She falls for the man she can't break. At first, she might test you just to see what you're made of. She might withdraw emotionally, become distant, or stir up tension. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she wants to see if you crack. It's unconscious, instinctual. She's scanning for strength, not in your muscles, but in your mind. The truth is, if she senses you're emotionally fragile, easily hurt, constantly reactive, or desperate for reassurance, she might pity you. But she won't respect you. And without respect, desire cannot exist. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man she has to emotionally manage. She falls in love with the man who manages himself. So what happens when she realizes you don't flinch under pressure? When her silence doesn't make you panic? When her cold tone doesn't shatter your self-worth? Something inside her shifts. She realizes she's not in control. And that realization doesn't repel her. It draws her in. Because deep down, she doesn't want to lead the emotional dynamic. She wants to trust that you've got it handled. This doesn't mean you become emotionally closed or detached. It means you develop emotional armor, forged in self-respect. You don't crumble when she's cold. You don't rage when she challenges you. You don't break when she pulls away. Instead, you observe. You stay grounded. You remain still. And in that stillness, she sees something rare. A man who is unbreakable. Not because he has no heart, but because he has built his heart into steel. She sees a man who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't bend his values to avoid rejection. That's when she stops testing. That's when the power dynamic settles. Because now she knows she can't dominate you emotionally. She has to rise to meet you, not a boy seeking validation, but a man standing tall in truth. Master these. Don't chase them. You don't need tricks. You don't need to memorize pickup lines. You don't need to shape-shift into someone you're not just to get her attention. What you truly need is awareness, the ability to see beneath the surface, to understand the invisible emotional triggers that guide her attraction. And most of all, the discipline to master yourself before trying to win anyone else. Because when you know how to lead your own emotions, when you remain centered in chaos, when you radiate stillness instead of seeking reassurance, she notices. Not consciously at first, but deep down in the part of her that craves masculine certainty. That's the part of you she remembers. That's the part that sets you apart. These 10 hidden weaknesses, they're not meant to be manipulated. They're meant to be understood, so you can move through relationships with strength, clarity, and grace. You're not here to chase her approval. You're here to embody a higher standard. A version of masculinity that's rare in today's world. Calm, grounded, and immovable. That's Stoicism. That's true power. Now it's your turn. Which of these 10 hidden female weaknesses surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one of them. And if you're serious about becoming the kind of man she can't forget, subscribe now for more weekly wisdom grounded in Stoic philosophy and real masculine strength. Until next time, stay calm, stay grounded, and never chase. Thanks for watching. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate you spending it here.